Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Open for Business. And I tell you what, I've got a great show tonight, and I've got these beautiful people sitting right across from me. I've actually known you guys for a little while. We've met before in other adventures. So I've got Cara Barr. See, now you got Care Bear in my head. It's like Cara Barr and J. David Barr. And you guys own Turning Point Wellness Center. It's a new business for you guys, right? But not a new industry. Yeah. Which is absolutely phenomenal. Let's talk about what Turning Point Wellness Center is going to be, or is.
We're going to be focusing on wellness aspects surrounding different treatment strategies, including ketamine treatments, the infusion for depression, anxiety, PTSD, OCD, even bipolar disorders. We'll be looking at utilizing hyperbaric oxygen therapy, again, for neurocognitive reasons, and injuries and illnesses, and as well as depression, OCD, PTSD. We're going to be looking at working with hormone replacement therapies. As many people know, part of the symptoms of hormones being decreased are things like anxiety, depression. And so we're kind of be focused in those realms. We'll be doing some IV therapies as well that will help with all natural approaches to treatment strategies.
Right.
We'll also have a weight loss program, medically supervised, that help people, when they've been on some antidepressants and we're able to kind of move them away, well, let's get the weight off that those put on you. So we'll help you with those things as well.
Okay. And now, this is not your first rodeo. You've been in this world for a while.
That's correct. I've been practicing medicine now almost 20 years as a physician associate, and prior to that, I was a paramedic for 5 years in Columbus, Ohio.
Wow. Okay, so Ohio people. Love Ohio. It's kind of that Midwest is just. It's almost like an instant trust. You say you're from Jersey or New York, like okay. Oh, I'm from California. Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. And Midwest, it brings that security to you. So you said something that triggered. I had an interview a couple of weeks ago, and I did not realize that antidepressants made you gain weight.
Yeah, almost every one of them. Including medications that are used for bipolar disorder and anxiety also can cause a lot of weight gain. We see most people pick up anywhere from 20 to 40 pounds after even 6 months of treatment.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight.
A year, 3 years, 5 years, it can be difficult to maintain or manage your weight, unfortunately.
So I don't mean to harp on it, but wow, if someone comes in depressed because of their weight, and now you got to put them on or they get put on medication that's going to make them gain more weight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you're a dog chasing its tail, trying to get that better controlled. There are some alternatives, but not as many as what you might think. And mainstream Western medicine is like, but they do work for helping with depression or anxiety to help people, get away from some of these traditional Lexapro, Prozac, so on and so forth.
Wow. Okay. So, and then you said IV infusions. We're saving the hyperbaric for last. I'm just saying it right now because I have a lot of experience with the hyperbaric side.
That's correct.
So the IV drips. Let's talk about. It's a big spectrum of them.
It is. It's very, very popular. I put together several different treatment strategies, including, a Myers cocktail. Mine has a little bit of a twist to it, as we're also going to include a few things that aren't in your standard Myers, like amino acids, which can help decrease weight by burning fat more efficiently and increase lean muscle. Wow. We mix that with a few mineral compounds, which your body is deficient in most of the time, as we are not getting enough of these in our diets.
Right.
And you really start to see a booster of energy to go with proper hydration and feeling better and more clear. There's also an elite performance that we put together that includes NAD+, which a lot of our bodybuilders and athletes will know quite a few things about, as it really does help boost your energy, improve your mental cognition. There's a lot of different things that we can put together that can really improve different aspects of your life. Things including slowing the causes of dementia, helping improve focus, weight loss, IV hydration,
Right.
Just a number of different aspects in your life that can really improve.
How about testosterone?
Yes, you can do testosterone injections. One of the things that we moved toward there, and as much as I like the testosterone injections, you get peaks and valleys, which means it's really, really great for 3 or 4 days, and then it starts coming down. And
Right.
what we've moved to is a bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Now, that's a pellet system.
Okay.
And the company that we're working with has an amazing device that gets the pellets to the right location efficiently every single time, just by the way it's designed.
Okay.
It's
Now,
amazing.
You say pellets. Is that something that we have to swallow or
No,
chew?
it's going to be injected into your subcutaneous tissue.
Okay.
So above the muscle, but just below the skin.
Okay.
It can be done right in the office. Takes approximately 10 to 12 minutes to do.
Wow.
And you're feeling pretty good. Usually it kicks in within 5 to 7 days. If you really want to feel great right away,
Yeah.
I can give you a testosterone shot once just to kind of get you to that hump.
Right.
And then watch it take off. And the beauty part of the pellets is it comes up and then just stays stable, where the injections are like this,
Up and down,
then like
up and
this,
down,
like a roller
right.
coaster. Not as much benefit as what you get when you go up and you stay up.
Right. Okay.
I have had pellet therapy recently, and I was anticipating waiting. I was actually quite surprised. After 2 days, I'm going, wow. Where's the pain? It's usually spin the wheel, which joint hurts, and I've actually felt pretty good.
What's not going to work today?
What's this all about? Why do I feel so much better?
Right.
And so it hit me. Oh, that's right. We did pellets, and it's kicking in a little bit sooner than I anticipated.
Wow. Now, okay, let's go back real quick because we just kind of skimmed over the IV side. Now, I've done the Bs and the Cs, and then I went out with some friends partying a little bit too much on a thing, and we all went back the next day and we got this whole thing, and man, I felt great for a couple of days. Oh, yeah. So is the same drip for everybody, or is it?
It's going to depend on what you're looking for.
Okay.
I have put drips together that can boost your mental cognition, and I've put some additional, supplements to go with it, some peptides that do, amazingly well to go with that, combined with hyperbaric chamber treatments, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
But then there are relaxation drips using things like GABA, R-carnitine, L-taurine, different things along those lines, magnesium, which can actually cause calming and soothing effects. Now, a lot of our yoga folks really enjoy that after they've gone to a yoga session, and it really helps improve their well-being.
Right.
Most of the time, the IV treatments come in 2 to 3 sessions per week, typically for a month to get you boosted up, and then once or twice a month as a maintenance. And that's all going to be dependent on how you feel, what you're noticing as to, how frequent you do the treatments.
Okay, I got it. So, but it keeps you from the roller coaster ride and kind of helps it. So you have not said much, Ms. Kara. So what do you do? Do you tell him you're the boss, aren't you? Because the boss never really talks a lot.
I'm the business person over here.
Okay.
So I assist him where I can, but I'm front office, when patients come in, making sure all the appointment items are taken care of, processing payments, that kind of thing, getting reschedules. So I assist him in that way, and then whatever he needs.
That's awesome.
There to help.
She's
the boss, isn't she?
What she's not mentioning is she's been trained that she can draw blood. She can give injections when needed. So, but her focus is obviously running the practice. That's her primary focus. But, we did some training. She went through some training courses, so she knows how to do a few things if I get in a pinch.
Right.
Yeah.
So
come here, hold this vein. No, just kidding. Just God, don't get upset. So now you also mentioned the ketamine.
Yes.
Okay, and that word's become it's a hit word here lately. A good word, right? It's like, oh, I've heard of that. Oh, I've heard of that. So what is the ketamine?
So ketamine is a medication that is used and has been initially researched in the 1950s, and starting in the 1960s, it was being used quite, regularly and even today as an anesthetic. And it was used as an anesthetic to help people, become relaxed and go to sleep for surgeries.
Right.
What we started noticing, or what the doctors and anesthesiologists have started noticing, is people that would come in that would need multiple procedures back to back would actually say to the anesthesiologist, I don't know what you gave me, but for like 3 days afterwards, I was feeling remarkably well. And so the anesthesiologists were going back and they were going, well, consistently, I've been giving ketamine, and we know that was derived from a hallucinogenic, and we're beginning to wonder as we're researching it, is this part of what's going on here? So you've had a few doctors out of Johns Hopkins start going, let's take a look at this even further. So they started using the ketamine in microdosing, which is significantly less than what you get for anesthesia. And what we found out, starting approximately 20 years ago, is it has made a huge difference in people's major depressive disorders, especially for those that are treatment resistant. So you've tried Prozac, you've tried Paxil, Lexapro, Effexor, whichever, you've tried one or two of these, and you haven't tolerated it well, it hasn't helped. You've been concerned that you gained all this weight.
Right.
There's different reasons why people won't stay on medications, and it's not helping them as, number one. This is an amazing treatment option for you, as the success rate is huge.
Okay.
And it's a series of 6 treatments in the beginning, spaced out appropriately, and then maintenance afterwards, which is typically every 2 to 3 months.
Right.
But what we found is not only is it getting rid of the depression, people are actually starting to feel happy.
Naturally.
I've met numerous people that are on antidepressants, and I'm like, well, do you actually feel good? Do you feel happy? And they're like, well, I get up and go to work every day.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
right.
That wasn't exactly the,
that wasn't the question.
Answer, but I'm glad that happens for you. The people that have gone through ketamine treatment, not only do they get up and go to work, but they're like, I actually feel happy. I actually know what joy feels like again.
Wow.
And it's very impressive.
Okay.
For what it does.
So say I'm not on antidepressants and stuff like that, but I just don't feel I'm blue, or I don't feel like my happy self that I used to be. Would this be a treatment for you?
What would need to happen is you come in and you go through an interview process. Okay. We would go through a very detailed history of what's going on, what you've noticed, how long, what other symptoms are you going through, what's been going on with work. Are you working? If so, what is it that's going on there? What's your family's situation like?
Gotcha.
So on and so forth. Oh, you just started a business recently? I can't imagine why you're feeling anxious. Those kinds of things need to all be considered. So we would just go through proper interview. We would look into maybe doing some labs and checking your hormone levels. Maybe your hormones are off.
Right.
There are also markers for depression and so on and so forth I'd be looking at. This is not come on in, let's just get you fixed up. This is something we need to sit down and sort through. Gotcha. It may not be the best option for you. We may look at something else.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people that have suffered, or they're not sure what they're going through. Need someone to sit down and talk to them.
Gotcha.
I know a lot of our primary cares are super slammed, and they give you about 2 or 3 minutes. And if they can't think of it really quick, we're going to get some blood, and I'll see you back in 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, and take this. No, we take the 30, 40 minutes it's going to take, or whatever, to sort through what's going on, and then we make some efficient decisions.
Phenomenal. That is really so. You said something about anti-aging that really kind of made my ears go, whoo.
Yes, there are definitely some. There's definitely some IV therapies that NAD+ was confirmed at the in Israel.
Okay.
At Tel Aviv University.
Tel Aviv.
That the NAD+ is actually lengthening telomeres, which is a part of the DNA.
Okay.
And the telomeres, as we get older, shorten, which is what's been determined that is causing people to, move on. So if we're using anti-aging effects and we're lengthening the telomeres, we have a better chance of living longer. It's also kind of reversing the effects of aging.
That was my next question. It's great that I'm going to live longer, but I want to look a little younger, just a little. I mean, I'm pretty sexy the way I am right now, but it's like, I want to look a little bit better.
The collagen, and which is straightening out some of the wrinkles.
Wow.
And people are noticing improved collagen in their face and neck. Instead of hollowed areas, they're more plump. And the crow's feet start to become less and less.
That is amazing.
So for this to be, identified, the University of Tel Aviv identified this. The Melbourne, in Melbourne, Australia, their major university there, reconfirmed. And then in Japan, it was reconfirmed again. So the 2 additional studies done, and they're all 3 going, yep, this is working. This is very interesting. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, it's all the talk on the TikTok.
Yes,
because all these guys are going. They're sitting down with Joe Rogan, and they're like, "Oh, I've been taking is it NAD?
NAD plus,
NAD plus." And you look at the guy, goes, "You never know. I'm 55 years old, and he looks like he's 20." I'm like, "You've been taking it for a long time," because I don't know if you can reverse that well. But he says, I've only been on it for like 2 years now, because I was in the first trial studies. I jumped on it in a heartbeat, and he look like he's like 22.
Wow.
NAD
like
plus is quite amazing. One thing to keep in mind, that is not an infusion I can do in like 20 or 30 minutes.
No.
And it'll put you on the floor. So keep in mind, if you're looking at an NAD plus infusion, make sure you're going to be able to commit about an hour and a half to 2 hours with me, because I can't run it fast.
Right.
But the results are pretty impressive. I have a good friend who has a wellness clinic, and it's in Kansas City.
Okay.
And he was getting a lot of Kansas City Chiefs in.
Oh, yeah.
And so those guys in practice are always timed on their 40s and everything else. He was giving them NAD plus infusions. And, of course, the coaching staff was watching this, and they were actually improving their 40 times.
What?
They're faster than what they were prior to getting the infusions.
So it was also helping them build muscle.
Exactly.
That's
and
amazing.
The strength and conditioning coaches said, this is prime. And then you sit back and you're going, really? Oh, wait a minute. They just went to the Super Bowl multiple times.
Yeah.
Won here, several times. Their players are up to speed.
That is amazing.
My friend who's got the clinics going, I've not seen anything like this. It's pretty impressive.
Wow. That is very cool. Now, so we got about 7.5 minutes left. Now we're going to talk about hyperbaric.
Oh, yes.
So you have a real, honest to goodness hyperbaric chamber coming.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the metal chamber. It's a permanent. It's not a portable chamber. Once it arrives, it's put together. It isn't going anywhere.
Right.
It will go to 2.5 atmospheres.
That's amazing.
Where a lot of the ones that are portable can typically only get to 1.5.
Yeah.
Some of our best treatment strategies are starting at 2 atmospheres up to 2.5 to help really improve. And what you're doing is, when you're going into a hyperbaric chamber, as you're aware of, is you're getting 100% oxygen into your bloodstream. When we breathe air like you and I and Kara are doing right now, it's 21% oxygen.
Correct.
Or 20.8% oxygen. Yeah. It's about 21%. That's all that's coming in. Other things that we're getting are, carbon dioxide. Yeah. And so on.
Pollutants, pollen.
Yes, all the fun stuff. So this is just straight oxygen coming in, and it's flooding your bloodstream with 100% oxygen.
That's amazing.
Which your organs will go crazy for.
Yeah.
You will start creating new blood vessels.
Really?
Yes, and that is why it's used so heavily in chronic wounds, and has been now for a little while. It's pretty impressive,
right?
How it can help wounds that normally we were looking to amputate not that long ago.
Right. Yeah, the hyperbaric chamber world, as I was back in when I was younger, earlier career, I was a saturation diver. I was a deep diver, and I was an E1 suit guy, so I was qualified for 2,500 feet. So I would do that stuff, and then coming back up, they would put me in a hyperbaric chamber, and I'd be decompressed for 2 days over time.
That's right.
And I never felt better than when I came out until the very end. For some reason, the very end, I didn't recoup fast, and that's when I went to my rigger and I said, "Dude, I'm tired, and I shouldn't be tired. And I think I'm at my end of my lifespan on working in this world." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I did this," and he looked like he was 80, and he was 41 years old. Wow. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not looking like that." But coming out of that hyperbaric chamber, for the most part, I felt like $1 million.
Oh yeah.
And then I would go partying before I'd go in the water. I'm like, can I go down a couple atmospheres just to make me feel better?
Yeah. What's really interesting about hyperbaric therapy is people will do anywhere from 3 to 4 treatments a week for 6 to 8 weeks and get the benefits, and they will last 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
Before needing to consider doing another round. With some of the treatment strategies that we're offering, I'm trying to get where maybe we can go 2 months and then you're good for 4 months or 5 months.
Right.
Before you need to be treated again to, one, help you save money, but two, as much as I'm sure I'll enjoy your company, I know you don't want to keep popping into my place.
And now, so can you combine like the multiple service? Like I can do an IV drip and then go into a hyperbaric or...
Absolutely. There'll be packages that'll be made available. We'll be looking at memberships in the future for people for different needs that they may have.
Okay.
Recently I put together a neurocognition treatment strategy that includes a dissolvable tablet, a nasal spray, IV therapy, and hyperbaric treatments.
Wow.
So when we do all that, I've got that timed over 6 months to see if we can improve where people felt like, hey, I'm just not as clear as I used to be. I'm not as focused as I was, or I'm noticing that as I've gotten a little bit older, I'm not as sharp as I used to be.
Gotcha.
Trying to get that back. And a lot of the evidence, including the National Institute of Health, has looked at a number of the supplements and the things that we're doing going, yeah, we're seeing benefit.
Right.
And so even the drug companies are like, yeah, okay, let's see what we can do to help improve these people's lives.
Right. So I would come into you and say, hey, doc, this is what I want. I want to look like I was in my 40s. I want to feel like I was in my 30s, and I want to think like I was in my 20s. Can you help me?
That would take some time, but we'd sort out a package that would work for you. I
don't want hair because I love the bald look. Then
we'll definitely be looking at making sure we get you to the right barber. But yeah, when you talk about things like that, yeah, I think that we can put together packages that will touch on every single one of those,
right?
Including the anti-aging effects, including.
Now, see, I was just joking. No. I didn't really. Do you think you really think that this is the possibility of dialing it down? You can come in and go, I want to look this way, feel this way, and think this way.
I think that we can put some things together that, we'll notice. You'll notice that a lot of the wrinkles are starting to improve, and you're getting some of the fullness back in your face, and you're not having as deep of lines. Combined with feeling better, oh, absolutely. The hyperbaric chamber alone, and what it does.
Yeah,
and then to improve mental clarity.
If you need to test it, let me do it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Of course, if I come out looking like the Fly, I'm going to be upset.
No.
I'm just saying.
That was a sit down machine. Mine's lay down. We're good. But
so, where are you guys going to be located?
We're in the Lutz, Odessa area, right off State Road 54, about 1.5 miles from the 589 or the Suncoast Highway.
The best way to know you're there is Dairy Queen's cross street.
That is exactly right.
Because I was just there the other day, and I pulled out, and I told my wife, I said, and by the way, there's going to be a show on Area 52 TV. Yeah. Oh, my gosh, it's going to be called Well Wellness. Right?
That's right.
So
I am so excited to have you guys. And they won't be having me on here. They're gonna do their own thing. But I'm excited because ever since our conversation last week, I have been researching and been looking. That's why I was asking for, give me pictures of everything because I'm trying to put an intro together for you. And I'm literally excited because the only other hyperbaric, and we won't mention names, is in Palm Harbor. And that's it. Yep. And there's some smaller ones,
and they're the portable that
you can't
get quite
get down deep, right?
The atmosphere that you're trying to get to. The Palm Harbor, he can definitely go there, and then from there you're actually looking at hospitals.
Yeah, TGH and Baycare.
Yeah.
because they have to have it for the divers and the military and all that kind, and some I think some cancer treatments now have been going.
Yes, and then some wound treatments that are being sent from both the burn units and the diabetic wound units.
That's I'm excited about your show, and I'm excited that you're here because I have a son that I know would benefit from this, and I know I would benefit from it because I'm going to become a patient. Now, is this going to be self-pay, or are we going to accept some insurances?
At this point, it's going to be a cash service. Okay. As more and more things become acceptable for the insurance, like we're hoping to see some things change for hyperbaric treatments in the future. But until they do, it's going to be a cash service.
Okay, perfect. So look, everybody, if you're not feeling good, you just don't, something's off, go see these folks right here. They're local. They're in the community. They're not just coming in from out of state and doing something. They're really here. You're looking to help people, which is absolutely phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I've known you guys for a little while, and I know I'm going to be a patient because I want to look a little bit younger, feel a little bit younger. I really want the energy more than anything. That's because I miss that. I'm like, I'm being drained. But anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. You know what? Look them up. All the information has been up. We'll see everybody next week on Open for Business.